Okay, so what I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how to deploy SCCM clients to your workstations and servers that you may have on a network that you would like to manage using Microsoft SCCM. Now, continuing from the last tutorial, following from the installation of SCCM, there are a couple things that you need to do to get this to work. Now, the first thing, and something that is very important, is that you use the ESTI edit utility from the Windows 2003 support tools pack, and you install this and you go to the domain system folder and then create a system management container. So you right click on on system, a new object, and you create a container called system management, which initially will be blank but will be eventually populated with these three very important attributes that you see here. On the system management container, if you go to properties and security, you need to add the computer name for your SCCM server and assign it full rights to this container. In addition to that, you also need to go to your SCCM console, right click your SCCM server and select new rules and add a very important rule that is not installed by default called the service locator point, or SLP rule. So if you don't install that SLP rule, service locator point rule, then your clients will not be able to update your SCCM server. And as a result, when you install clients to your PCs and desktops and servers, although they will be installed, you're going to encounter errors in the console. The console, for example, will show up where although the agent is installed, it will show up as the client not being installed. Alright, so those two things, creating the system management container in ASDI edit and adding the service locator point rule to your SCCM server. Alright, and once that is done, you ensure that, actually before that is done, you need to ensure that the server is set to publish its information in Active Directory and also DNS. So now that we've covered that, we're ready to push our clients. So to do that, we need to ensure that we have some configurations entered. So we go to client agents and we select the functions we would like to enable. So most of these are enabled by default, so it's just a matter of right clicking properties and enabling the particular function. Secondly, you need to configure the client installation method, client push installation, whether or not you would like to install it on domain controllers, and also very importantly, you need to configure an account with a password that has domain admin rights to the PC that you're pushing the client on, and the client side code is configured automatically. Once that is done, if you go to collections, I've configured my discovery to discover computers on Active Directory. So if you go to discovery methods, I have actually configured Active Directory system discovery in order to discover computers on my network. Alright, so I've enabled this, and once you've done that, you can discover computers in Active Directory automatically. Now, I've just pushed out a client to one of these systems here, this last one, and you can verify the status of your deployment by using a utility called SMS trace that is found in your SCCM toolkit available from Microsoft. And I've just deployed a client to the computer 1, and you can see here that it's created a service, the SCCM service, and you can verify that the SCCM was also installed on the client by going to control panel and verifying that there's a configuration manager installed. So if you go advanced, you're going to see this information here. Now another point to note is that if you don't have the service locator point rule added and you haven't created the system management container, when you click on discover, you would not be able to successfully discover the site code. In fact, you would get an error stating that the automatic site code discovery was unsuccessful. So very importantly, when you create the system management container, it becomes populated with its 3 fields so that clients can be able to locate your management point and your service locator point and also its site code. If you don't do things like if you don't create the system management container, although the client will install, the client installation will be able to deploy to the client, you will not be able to use certain functions. For example, remote tools. So if I can right click on the system, I can select start remote tools. Actually, I'm getting an error here because I need to right click. Every time you need to refresh, it's advisable to right click and select update collection membership. Then right click and refresh. So we have our client installed, and now we can right click and start remote tools. So we have control of the system as the user is currently seeing right now. So if we move back to the current system, we see that we've successfully connected to the machine. Also, we can do some other tasks such as right clicking and go to Resource Explorer, where we can determine. Now these are some basic functionality that you get, and there's a lot more that you can do with SCCM. Can expand this, and we should be able to get, if it has provided information, a hardware history and hardware report for that particular computer. We can see programs installed, we can see other information related to that specific computer. So that's about it, and I hope this has been informative. And for the next tutorial, we're going to go through some more configuration of SCCM.